Across Australia on this ANZAC Saturday, this is ABC Sport with another afternoon of live, uninterrupted rugby league. In today's round 6 clash of the premiership race, the Illawarra Steelers take on the Manly Sea Eagles on this Saturday's Super League. Welcome to Wollongong, the city of steel and the home of the Steelers, giant killers of this year's pre-season competition. Today, Illawarra come to their home ground, Steelers Stadium, to take on Manly. And they find themselves with 5 points on the premiership ladder, just outside the 5, but 1 point ahead of a worried Manly who come here after 3 straight losses. In round 3, they went down to Penrith. Then Newcastle in round 4. While last week, they were mauled by Brisbane. While the newspapers have spoken of crisis meetings in the Sea Eagle camp, Coach Graham Lowe has his own problems with a star-studded injury list. The point-scoring machine Matthew Ridge and powerhouse forward Ian Roberts. While it's well known how tough the Steelers can be here at home, perhaps the effects of last night's Origin clash could be the wild card in deciding today's outcome.
Yes, it is a big ask to back up for 2 games in 20 hours, but that's what Lyons, Toovey, Hasler and Hosking for Manly and Simon, Cross, McGregor and Wishart for Illawarra have to do today, and they're all key players. The Manly side, after playing brilliant football, have gone right off the boil, and last week's effort was described by Graham Lowe as the worst in his time as coach. For them, it all starts in the forwards with front rowers David Hosking and Martin Bella. Bella has to get back to his basic best, bulldozing the hard yards, taking no risks with handling to get Manly going forward. Illawarra will be strengthened by the return of Dean Schifilliti and Dale Fritz, but they're still missing Chris Walsh, Brett Rodwell and Neil Pinchinelli. They have a steady, well-balanced team of goers with pace out wide, but it's halfback John Simon that steers the ship. His excellent kicking game and all-round ability keeps the Steelers out of their own half. And to make life tougher for Manly, Illawarra have won their last 12 matches here at Steelers Stadium, Arthur.
Well, that's a record that any side would be proud of. Last week, Graham Lowe came out in print suggesting that Martin Bella's Origin spot was on the line in an attempt to fire him up. If Bella and Hoskins can take control of the rucks, they certainly have the men out wide to capitalise on that. But this is a young, energetic, talented side, Illawarra, and I'm predicting the men of steel will protect their house of steel here today at Wollongong Stadium.
Yes, Manly will be the big bad wolf trying to blow away the Steelers here at Wollongong today.
From Mount Isa in the north to Kalgoorlie in the west, across Australia, you're watching the country's premier rugby league competition. Live and uninterrupted on ABC Television, your national network.
A big crowd here at Steelers Stadium packing in for this Saturday game. And on the sidelines, Johnny Pearce.
Yes, Warren, I'm here, and there's a great crowd here today. I couldn't quite hear. There's that much noise going on, but great day for the Steelers. Their ground looks fantastic, and the crowd have come up in great numbers to see this men of steel. Manly, well, it's a chance for them to atone for previous performances. Really, Graham Lowe's really laid the acid on the line. I think they might stand up today, but the Steelers will be running with the wind in the first half.
Here come the Steelers in front of their home crowd and looking for a very big match today are both teams. For Illawarra, the fullback is David Riolo. On the wing, it's Rod Wishart, Ryan Girdler and Paul McGregor in the centre, with Alan McIndoe on the other wing, Dale Fritz at 5'8", and John Simon halfback. A few changes in the forward lineup. Ian Russell at lock forward, Dave Gallagher and Craig Izzard in the second row. Izzard the captain, David Walsh, Dean Schifilliti and Bill Dunn in the front row. The coach is Graham Murray. Manly out there. The lineup at fullback, Darryl Williams. On the wing, Tony Iro, Kevin Iro and Michael O'Connor in the centre, Craig Hancock on the other wing, Cliff Lyons 5'8", Jeff Toovey is halfback, and the forwards, Des Hasler at lock forward, second row, Matt Dunford and John Jones, the front row, David Hosking, David O'Donnell and Martin Bella, the coach, Graham Lowe.
By the president of the Illawarra Club, Bob Elby, out of Manly, Mr. Gordon Willoughby.
Now, of course, there will be special occasion here with ANZAC Day to be commemorated. And the last post will be followed by a minute's silence.
Memory of the fallen comrades who suffered and died in the defence of our country. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thankfully, life and limb, well, will not be on the line here today as they were in the World Wars. But I'm sure that the two teams will be fired up because this is a very important game for both teams. Manly have been attracting most of the publicity after losing their last 3 games. Michael O'Connor, the Manly skipper. Manly with just 4 points on the board, but Illawarra not much better with 5 points. So it's a very important game for both teams. The referee is Greg McCallum. Breeze blowing from the southern end of the ground. And play underway from the boot of John Jones. Illawarra running from the southern end with this breeze behind them in the first half. And it's Ian Russell, originally named as a fresh reserve but brought into the team, with John Cross now a fresh reserve.
And look to Illawarra to use this breeze, strong breeze at their back, with the kicking game of Neil Simon coming into use.
Taking it up is David Walsh on their own 22, the Steelers. Bill Dunn included in the side with Chris Walsh pulling out. Knee troubles worrying Walsh.
In the front line of Manly, they're not playing a sweeper, John.
No, I guess they're looking for the long kick, and there's one from John Simon. But I think it's pretty appropriate on ANZAC Day that this probably be one in the trenches too. And I think Graham Blow will be looking for Manly forwards to really assert some sort of platform today.
Yeah, we've already seen some strong defence from John Jones and co as they took on the Illawarra forwards.
Now Illawarra try to contain Manly at their own end of the field. John Jones takes it forward. He runs into some heavy defence. Dave Gallagher in there. With Lyons. In the earlier games today, the under 21s, it was a win to Manly, 24 points to 20. In reserve grade, a big win to the Steelers, 26 points to 8. Lyons, a dummy half on the 5th tackle, kicks himself. Riolo comes across, has it covered. Sees McIndoe in front of him, he runs away from him into the arms of Kevin Iro.
Certainly a good tactic there by Cliff Lyons, just stepping out from the dummy half area and putting the ball down short, but a good chasing team also by the Manly side.
Alan McIndoe in from the left wing to the centre of the field. Now McGregor has a go.
And that's a huge hit there, but unfortunately, I think it's John Jones.
John Jones has hurt himself in the tackle.
I'm not too sure whether it is John Jones, is it?
Yeah, I think it's Jones.
Yeah, he's come in, he's got his head on the wrong side there. If we have a look, he's copped an unintentional elbow there, but not the way to go into a tackle leading with your melon. That's normally what happens.
He's such an enthusiastic player, John Jones. He has had concussion once or twice this season.
Graham Lowe, early concern for him.
A few words being exchanged there. Paul McGregor has something to say.
Izzard takes it up, awarded the captaincy of this team with Chris Walsh out.
A good offload by Craig Izzard then. 2 in the tackle.
That's all. We'll have a look
Fritz,
there.
well, he's ruled that Fritz has lost the ball in the tackle. He was struggling to get to his feet to play it.
We'll have a look there as Jeff Toovey struggling there, and you see Dale Fritz struggling there and being held down by O'Donnell there. And penalty should no doubt gone to Illawarra.
It was Kevin Iro. Up on him quickly was Ryan Girdler, 19 years of age. Girdler making his debut this season. Bella down the blind side. Russell takes him ball and all. Now over the top they come with Bill Dunn. Lyons. Toovey outside him. Short ball for O'Connor going straight, and he can't hang on to it.
Certainly a hot potato there, that pass from line to O'Connor. He was stood all over there by Simon. As we see a penalty against Manly here as they encroach the 5 metres.
Referee McCallum goes across to where Matt Dunford is standing. You see on the replay, just moving up a little early.
John, this is certainly a tough ask of players like Des Hasler and Cliff Lyons to back up after putting in a superhuman effort last night, especially Des Hasler. He virtually had to back up twice.
Yeah, I think Illawarra's done the right thing. When you've got a player like Ian Russell on the bench and Bill Dunn, both proven first grades, and they've rested John Cross, who took part in last night's early game.
This kick a long way out, 40 metres, and Girdler to attempt the penalty goal. In centre field with the wind right behind him at 6 kilometres an hour. He moves into it, hits it well, but just pushing it towards the left hand upright and wide. Score remains 0-0. 4 minutes of play gone. First opportunity for either team to put points on the board. But Girdler at least kicked it dead. And Lyons with a low dropout. Russell. Not so long ago that Ian Russell was in contention for a New South Wales Origin jersey, and now he finds himself as originally a fresh reserve for this match, coming back from suspension, and Graham Murray not overly impressed with his recent form.
It's obvious that he could come back into contention if he pulls out a big one today.
Mind you, I think Bradley Clyde has just about got the number 13 jersey.
Certainly got a mortgage on that.
This is Bill Dunn. Manly's defence enthusiastic. Simon pins them back. Drives the kick towards Williams. They're all onside. And McGregor there with the tackle. Hancock from the wing. Gets away from Russell, but can't escape the tackle of Craig Izzard. O'Donnell unable to find a runner. That's a bad sign early in the game. Finally got it to Hosking. In attack this season, Illawarra have scored 75, Manly 91 points. And against Illawarra 70, Manly 100. So I guess you could say that in both attack and defence, tighter side, Manly tend to throw the ball around a little more, score points, but also suffer the consequences.
Well,
Williams with the kick.
They should be one of the best sides coming out of their quarter in the competition, Manly, with the size of some of their backs getting in there to help.
Well, certainly we saw the advantage of having a guy like Tony Iro there coming off his wing and taking a little bit of pressure off the forwards.
Rod Wishart from the wing. He's a dangerous player and he's away. It took a good tackle by Toovey to get hold of him. And now the penalty goes against Manly. The second tackle coming in from Manly, from John Jones.
Yeah, Matty Dunford missing the tackle there on Wishart. As we see him, they just have him, but a great tackle there by Jeff Toovey. But as we see, John Jones just beanbagging Wishart.
Rod Wishart's got tremendous leg drive, hasn't he? Drags out of those tackles.
Arguably the best winger in Australia, if not the world.
It's great to see.
Some might think Martin O'Fire has claims of being that.
Good to see that Wishart has thrown off his hamstring troubles. This is Ian Russell in centre field, 32 metres out. Schifilliti at dummy half. Riolo gets it out to his front row forward, David Walsh.
John Jones going a little bit high there on Walsh.
The referee says it was just below the shoulder. Dave Gallagher, former West player, from Gunnedah originally, via Brisbane down to West, and now Illawarra. Simon with the kick through, Riolo coming through too, Williams is there.
Yeah, very experienced campaigner, Williams. He read that little chip perfectly.
Tony Iro bringing it away. Iro, a versatile player. Kevin Iro, a specialist player.
There's a double bunger with the Iros at 34 stone combined.
Part of the Kiwi contingent. Darryl Williams is out there, but Matthew Ridge isn't. He's injured. So too is Ian Roberts. Two very important losses for Manly on the sidelines today. So too Owen Cunningham out of action.
Very good yards there by Hoskins.
Toovey rebounding off Simon.
And getting 6 more.
I wasn't sure that was played at by Simon.
Oh, it looked as though he turned his back on that, so maybe Greg McCallum made an error.
O'Donnell steals down the blind side. And now it passed to Hancock. He stops in his tracks as he sees Russell in cover. Referee wants a quick play the ball.
Well, the referee's at fault there. He moved up before the ball had been played.
Toovey standing. Lyons holds it up for Billa. O'Connor now stepping back inside. Couldn't get the last pass away as Simon upends him. Manly only 25 metres out. O'Donnell. Dunford. Well grasped, but Manly right on the attack here. It's the 5th tackle. Williams puts it up back to the blind side. The Iro brothers lurking. McIndoe, off McIndoe to Manly. This is a try. Tony Iro brings it around. Well, the bounce coming straight off the hands of Alan McIndoe, and waiting with gleeful arms was Tony Iro for the simplest of tries. But the height of Tony Iro and Kevin Iro was always going to be difficult for Illawarra to contend with, as Williams deliberately placed it back to the blind side. The two big men come through. McIndoe knocks it sideways, and Tony Iro there to pick up the spoils.
Well, I wasn't too sure whether McIndoe did knock this ball. I thought it might have been Riolo, but as we see the good bomb put up there by Williams, and we see there was Riolo, and it falls right in the arms of Tony Iro there, and what a great start for Manly.
Tony Iro, his first try of the year. He was coached by Graham Lowe at Wigan. Had knee surgery last year. Michael O'Connor close to the post, adds 2 more points, and it's Manly 6, Illawarra 0.
Well, Manly got down there by courtesy of some very good support play. But Darryl Williams, not much pressure on there all the time in the world to place this. Tony Iro on the wrong side of the ball, but didn't matter. It came off the Illawarra Steelers, and that's a handy break for the Sea Eagles. They needed that.
Darryl Williams, who put that bomb high, well placed to the blind. John Simon with the restart of play deep, and Williams takes it on the fingertips. He's in trouble, but just manages to get back. And a solid tackle comes in on Williams. A big hit from Schifilliti. Now it's the try scorer, Tony Iro, who spends much of his time actually picked in the second row for Manly. He's certainly a strike player who can play in the forwards or out wide.
A very similar player to Graham Mackay for Penrith. He plays the same role, and both at 104 to 110 kilos. They're certainly whopping wingers.
Williams. Charged down by Schifilliti. Williams gets it back, and that is 6 more tackles. And Williams brings it away. Well, anything can happen from a charge down. Sometimes the charger can pick up the spoils and run away for a try, but that time Manly got 6 more. Here's Toovey swinging it back to O'Connor. Now it's Hancock.
And
almost got it to Lyons.
And Manly electing to move the ball very wide, where they're finding a lot of spaces.
Here's Cliff Lyons. Back to O'Donnell. He shovels it to Toovey.
We have a look at the error rate there, and 9 of those errors are missed tackles. It's an alarming figure
and
for
those,
Graham Murray to contend with.
And those 2 extra set of 6s they've got with the charge down to Arthur has enabled Manly to put a fair bit of pressure on the Steelers' defence.
5th tackle. Hasler decides to run it. Lyons holds it up for Iro. Tony Iro loses the ball. It was the last tackle anyway. Now it's Rod Wishart. Steaming ahead. David Walsh. Penalty against Manly. in the play-the-ball area. Michael O'Connor comes up to question the referee about it.
We have a look here as the ball's being played by David Walsh. And as he gets up, we see, well, I'm just wondering whether he lost that cold.
Difficult to see from the replay as Simon looks for touch. Kicking out towards the Pacific Ocean. Bill Dunn from the tap, trying to swivel out of Bella's tackle, but he hangs on the halfway line. Simon with Izzard, Russell working the short balls, but didn't present any real problem for Hasler. Riolo up in the line. David Walsh, well tackled. There's John Jones. He's working hard in defence. He's leading the tackle count. He's made 9 already. Fritz with a dummy. Gets it to McGregor. Michael O'Connor with a tackle. A pass looked a little forward to Russell. Looking to get it to Wishart. It's on the ground. Hancock can't handle, and that's a knock on both ways.
They looked a little bit dangerous as they went to that right flank there, and Russell showing the dummy. Had a little bit of space there, but the ball must have been knocked down by Hancock here as Illawarra get the feed.
Riolo up in the back line. He pushes away from Williams, but O'Connor is low, and Williams again over the top. Riolo hurt. The referee stops play. He must be worried about David Riolo. Here comes the trainer. He hasn't asked for the ball to be immediately played, so Riolo has taken an awkward knock here. Williams coming over the top.
Well, but it's a springing arm there. Maybe we might hear a little bit more about that later on, but makes you wonder how the referees missed those incidents.
Well, now the referee is calling Darryl Williams up, and he's also calling to the touch judge, I think. He wants... Oh, no, it's Michael O'Connor he's calling for. Well, that's a nasty wound for Riolo. The tackle did appear high from Williams. Initially, it didn't look too bad, but it's certainly done some damage. Now, Greg McCallum, oh, that was a very nasty knock. Riolo, not only is he bleeding badly, but he obviously doesn't know where he is.
But it looks as though the referee is going to put this on report also, so they're not throwing the onus back onto the coach and the club.
Well, initially, it didn't appear that Greg McCallum was concerned about the tackle, but that's good work by him to, if he is going to report it later, if he doesn't believe that it was blatantly dangerous at the time.
You see Brett Docherty coming on to replace Riolo. Is the space out wide here.
Good hold of McGregor. He goes back inside. He ran away from Docherty, who was backing him up on the outside. And that is a handover. McGregor doesn't realise that it's the last tackle. Or does he? Either way, there was a tangle of arms and legs. It looked as if McGregor was hard done by there.
No, he has to release the ball. The rules state that once the whistle is blown, you have to release the ball. And it's quite obvious that McGregor wasn't aware that it was the last tackle.
Here it is. McGregor cut back inside. I'm not sure he wouldn't have been better staying out on the wing. That tackle from Hasler was a little high also. And was it the Manly players not releasing him, or was it McGregor?
Well, the whistle is blown.
And the referee is right over the top telling him to release it. I don't think McGregor realised it was the last, because after the hold-up with Riolo, the last tackle came up very quickly. Lyons swings it wide. Kevin Iro, the danger man. Fritz has got an ankle, and that's enough. Hasler. Last tackle coming up for Manly. Williams under pressure from Dunn, gets his kick away. Docherty, well tackled by Craig Hancock.
Yeah, very good chase there by Hancock. He was on his own, and if he didn't make that tackle, Docherty had a chance to make some yards.
Ian Russell, taken ball and all by Hasler. Illawarra inside their own quarter. Izzard gets them over the 22-metre line. 6-0 in favour of Manly, and we've had 15 minutes of play. It's obvious that the kick's going downtown because Illawarra have moved early. Simons under pressure from Lyons gets the kick away. Craig Hancock Stepping well, beats 2 players, including McIndoe. Kevin Iro, Tony Iro. Back inside, Kevin can't hold on to it. McIndoe comes away with it. He pushes off Cliff Lyons, but Lyons comes in at him.
That's probably the first time that we've seen someone avoid the chasing team of Illawarra.
Yeah, good effort by Craig Hancock. Showed a bit of a left foot step to get around the defence and tried to send the big Iro brothers on their way. Here's Schifilliti down the centre.
Oh, ball and all tackle comes in fairly high from Williams, but he was desperate to stop the pass from Schifilliti. Now it's Russell. The marker defence from Manly opens up. First Schifilliti, now Russell. 22 metres out. Simon. Girdler. Izzard splits them. Can't get it to McGregor. Intercepted by Iro, but the penalty goes to Illawarra. Iro was never back to 5 metres.
Yeah, very good refereeing here by Greg Alexander. He's played the advantage to the end. We see Izzard make the break there after a great short ball. And we see that ball was fired out there from McGregor, but Kevin Iro intercepting that pass.
Penalties 4-1 to the Steelers. This is within kicking range for Ryan Girdler. The danger signs there for Manly with the marker defence. Schifilliti found a hole right up the middle. They hadn't got back to 5 metres. In close to the ruck, and they weren't able to contain him, and Russell kept it going.
Well, certainly I thought also Greg McCallum was very tolerant of Des Hasler there, as Des Hasler seemed to impede the quick play the ball by Russell.
2 very talented players then, Russell and Schifilliti, both running from dummy half and both show the ball, which tends to hold some defenders off.
Ian Roberts has a hamstring injury, unable to play in this match. Here's the break upfield by Illawarra. Great pass coming out to Izzard, but there was the intercept by Iro. Girdler has the ball placed 5 metres in from touch. It's it well. It's a good-looking kick. It's there. Illawarra put their first points of the match on the board, but Manly lead by 6 points to 2. 19 minutes of play gone.
There's certainly a beautiful kick there by Girdler. He's done it right the second time.
A couple of enthusiastic Steeler fans. It's a good crowd here today.
Wasn't Jack Graham from the Harp, was it, John?
I missed that, Arthur.
Jack Graham from the Harp.
Yep, they're all over me here, Arthur.
Jones with the restart of play. Simon backs away from it, realised he couldn't get to it on the full. Here's Wishart. And he is dumped heavily. That's a good tackle by Hosking and O'Donnell. That's the sort of tackle which lifts the rest of the team. Izzard rounded up. Again, fast-moving defence from Manly. Hasler's getting through plenty of work. He's already made 10 tackles. Here's Bill Dunn. Slow play the ball. The referee allows it to go on. David Walsh now takes on David Hosking and Bella. Could easily have been a penalty too. Simon, the kick, a wobbly one off the side of his boot out towards Hancock. Hancock backing away from it. I thought he could have gone under that one on the full.
Very good pressure there from Matt Dunford, but once again I thought the referee being a little bit tolerant of players laying on the tackle player.
Hancock a dummy half. It's Jones. Just inside the Illawarra half. Bella on the blind side. Manly have a deep back line. Lyons trying to get it back to Toovey. Indecision from Cliff Lyons. Now it's Dunford on the ground, and Williams commits himself well because coming in hard was Dave Gallagher, and Williams is hurt. Manly at 6s and 7s. Hosking forced to kick. At least he found touch, but Manly suddenly the direction just gone right out of them in that set of 6.
Yes, certainly. They're Cliff Line hoping to pop out of the dummy half area there, but the marker defence were wary of Cliff Line on that occasion, and poor old David Hoskins, one of the front rows, had to do the kicking.
David Riolo back on the field. I didn't know whether we would see him back, so he's a gutsy little fellow.
Cliffy Lyons has been kicking from dummy half, and that time the Illawarra defence read it. He got caught in a tackle, had to pop one back to Hosking. He did the right thing, he found touch.
Dunn. Wishart away.
We have a look at the hitmen there. Illawarra, Dale Fritz leading the tackle count there for Illawarra, emphasising that the fact that Manly are playing the game a little bit wider, and John Jones, which he always does, with 12 of the toughest.
Last tackle against Illawarra. Simon looks for touch. Williams takes it well. McIndoe up there in defence. Plenty of support too from Girdler and Simon. And Manly have to trek back and get onside, and before they can really set themselves, 2 or 3 tackles are used up. O'Donnell from dummy half. This defence from Illawarra. Enthusiastic. Again, it's Girdler and Simon. Kevin Iro, but he's one out. Real danger time here for Manly, because they've got to get this direction back in their game. Suddenly just starting to look like sheep. Hasler. Well tackled by Fritz. He goes back to O'Connor. Now Lyons. Inside is Hancock. Another good tackle
by Fritz.
Yep, Fritz is doing well. The 5th tackle. O'Connor. That's a deep kick by Michael O'Connor. McIndoe spins around to have a look to see where the chasers are coming from. Just gets to it. And driven into touch. That's great defence by the Iro Bruce brothers.
Well, it's obvious that Alan McIndoe committed 2 errors there, picking the ball up firstly and staying too close to the touchline. If you have a look there, I'm sure that ball would have went over the sideline, and cutting back towards the sideline where Kevin Iro stands him up, and brother Tony comes in and assists and drives him over the touchline.
Kevin Iro, who was looking to pass wide, but the defence right up on top of him. Girdler. Ryan Girdler really has a big job on his hands today to contain Kevin Iro. He's done it well so far. Jones. 6 points to 2 in favour of Manly. Manly deep. O'Donnell goes from dummy half. The Illawarra defence, which was moving up quickly, has to go back again and turn. Lyons. O'Connor boiling through. O'Connor flying. Across comes Riolo. And what a tremendous piece of work by the fullback. O'Connor very nearly looked as if he was going to win the race.
Yeah, set piece. A beautiful bit of work there by Manly, but a bit of toughness shown there by Riolo as he was under pressure from O'Connor.
Now McIndoe hurt in a tackle as Russell takes it away. Penalty against Manly, holding down in the tackle. Cliff Lyons saying that the Illawarra player was pulling him down by the jersey. Was Ian Russell underneath?
Ian Russell there, as we see Hosking and co flopping, and we see Cliff Lyons there, and I've got no doubts Cliff Lyons is at fault.
5-1 the penalties now to the Steelers. Simon gets it away to Fritz. He brushes off Hasler.
Well, I have no doubts that Des Hasler is a little bit tired at the moment after playing 2 games last night. We see Ian Russell nearly coughed that ball up.
David Walsh wants a piece of the action. Last year in the premiership race, Manly finished 2nd, Illawarra 8th. Manly unable to go on with it in the finals when hit by injuries. Illawarra were in the race for the semi-finals most of last season. This vital game to their hopes in '92. Only early days, but they don't want to get a long way behind at this stage with the representative game still to come, particularly for Manly. Yeah. Hancock.
A poor kick there by John Simon. No pressure on Manly whatsoever.
Hosking. Williams. There's some muscle going on in these tackles, going into these tackles. Williams driven back and sideways. Lyons throwing it inside his own quarter to Iro. Tony Iro held.
Yeah, good work by Manly as they shifted the ball wide there in their own red zone, but they did certainly have the numbers there, but Tony Ora couldn't make the ball available.
Bella stopped in his tracks. Good hit by Dave Gallagher with Russell underneath. Williams chased by Schifilliti. He gets hold of him. Oro's got a kick off his left foot. It was the last tackle. It was touched in flight, and Wishart has touched it as well. It's play on. Manly have got it. Dunford, Hosking, Hancock. Finally put on the ground by Simon.
Good work by Michael O'Connor. He read that perfectly and put pressure as we see Lyons go back to the blind side looking for Hancock.
Hosking now, running off O'Donnell. 32 metres out. Bella. O'Donnell. Hasler. And again it's Simon with a driving low tackle that stops Hasler. Dunford loses it as he gets over the 22. Referee says it was pulled out by Illawarra. Well, here it is.
See Russell going in over the top, and the ball is definitely stripped there by Ian Russell.
Well, good decision by the referee. Following the rule that you can't steal it in the tackle. Graham Lowe's got what is obviously an important message for the trainer to hand on. That's Chris White, in fact, that he's talking to, the fresh reserve.
I'd expect that he'd be very happy with his lot at the moment. They look like extending this lead by 6 points. And with only 10 minutes to go before half-time, virtually, they'll have the breeze at their back in the second half. So things are looking good.
O'Connor converted the first try, or the only try.
Matt Dunford, the one to be replaced by Chris White.
And O'Connor hits it well. Fine kick from Michael O'Connor. So Manly extend their lead. It's 8 points to 2. 12 minutes remaining till half-time. Michael O'Connor, who declared himself unavailable for representative commitments this season after a fine career. Graham Lowe checking with Matt Dunford, who's just left the field. It looks as if Dunford may have some slight injury.
So I would think Graham Murray would be disappointed in his crew at the moment. Only 10 minutes to go. There doesn't seem to be a lot of urgency there. We see O'Donnell try to offload that ball. And now we see Illawarra in possession inside.
Possession.
Horror mistake on the first tackle. Oh, Russell's pass is wide of McGregor and Hancock's off. Only Riolo in front of him. He's got O'Connor there too. He steps away from O'Connor. Hancock went the wrong way. O'Connor was on his left.
Well, he's shaking his head. He can't believe. Obviously, there was no communication between the two.
And a very slow play the ball then that stopped all of Manly's momentum.
Bad pass from Ian Russell. In fact, 2 mistakes. One initially by Manly to give up the ball on the first tackle, then Russell a bad pass, and now a penalty goes to Manly against Illawarra, not getting off David Hosking, and the referee tells David Hosking that he'll do the refereeing. The tackle. Schifilliti over the top with Simon. Well, not much doubt that was a fair penalty.
Well, once again, I don't know whether Connor's going to have a shot here, but by the looks of it, he will have a shot of it at goal here, and certainly taking his time making a decision whether he's going to have a shot at goal.
Well, I wouldn't have thought there'd be too much doubt about it. 35 metres out, should be within Michael O'Connor's range. Michael O'Connor has scored the most number of points in Origin football with 115. The wind blowing into his face, maybe that was what was causing him some concern as to whether to go for the kick. Moves into it. He's got plenty of legs on the kick, and it's a fine kick by O'Connor once more. Long and straight, Manly lead by 10 points to 2. 9 minutes till the break.
Manly by number 4,
Mark Graham and Ian Roberts will be pretty happy about that. Mark Graham, the assistant coach to Graham Lowe. Mark Graham continuing the Kiwi connection. Simon's kick bounces off O'Donnell.
It's a strange decision to put the short one in, John.
Yeah, with that wind behind you, Arthur, to trap Manly down there, try and force them into error with about 8 or 9 minutes left for half-time. Manly's getting far too much possession. Graham Murray wouldn't be too happy with that. Their team's squandering possession when the Steelers do get it. But Manly, a shaky start, but very much in control now, through possession.
David Hosking just short of halfway. Bella. Lyons. Dumming, but wrapped up. It comes out the back somehow, and Illawarra have got it. The referee says they also knocked it forward. So the touch judge is coming in from the far side.
Yeah, Cliff Lyons hung that ball up for quite a while, looking for Tony Iro to come in, but Tony Iro knocking that ball on there, calling out Gallagher.
I think as the ball came back from Cliff Lyons, there was a hand in the air, and that may have been an Illawarra hand that knocked it forward. Oh, no, that was Hasler. Difficult to see an Illawarra knock on in there. Illawarra have got the ball, and it's McGregor. McGregor passes it to Hancock, so we're seeing a lot of mistakes.
Well, he had no option there, McGregor, and at least they get the feed here as we see McGregor offload the ball to Hancock here, and we see Wishart there just pushing him into touch.
Fritz stepping well. Russell almost out of the tackle. Bella just put him off balance. Izzard. Only 20 metres out now. Steelers can go either way. Players on either side of the ruck. Deep. Riolo. Hasler gets hold of him. 15 out now. Simon calling the shots. Crosses on the field. John Cross. Fifth tackle. Only 13 metres out. Schifilliti. Simon. Long ball for Girdler. Puts him in some space. Got the pass back inside. Knocked into touch. Now who did it come off? The referee is going to check with the touch judge to see who should get the scrum feed.
I'll try to work out whether Girdler was out before he threw that ball back in. We have a look here and we see Girdler going back in. So he has thrown it. So the rule is that it's an Illawarra feed once again here. That ball coming off Hasler.
I thought there may have been an inadvertent touch by Illawarra last, but they've got the scrum win. McGregor. McGregor gets it away to Girdler, and there's the try he was looking for just a moment ago. From the scrum win. Straight across the back line. Girdler put into a little hole. And a good try just before half-time. McGregor cut across field, got inside Iro, got behind O'Connor, and Girdler had gone onto the pass. A good try from the scrum.
You see the ball going across, and what a beautiful pair of feet McGregor has. We saw last night, and there's Girdler backing up and scoring that about 10 metres out from the upright. And once again we see it here as the beautiful feet of McGregor, the twinkling feet, beautiful passes. Girdler gets inside O'Connor there, and just what the coach ordered. Graham Murray would be happy with that.
19-year-old Ryan Girdler scored 2 tries in his first 24 minutes in his first grade debut. Continuing to play well. It's not a bad effort to have scored 6 tries in first grade football after just 6 games. He moves into it, trying to convert his own try. And
the red dot here at Steelers Stadium. And Illawarra hit back. It's Manly 10, Illawarra 8.
Yeah, well, from this scrum play, it's only one-on-one. Watch Darryl Williams, number 1. You see he gets stood up by McGregor, in and away. And of course, Mike O'Connor's on the wrong side of the ball, and he can't do anything to stop Girdler scoring. Good work by McGregor.
Jones to Simon. Referee said it went backwards, and Russell brings it away.
Tremendous tackle by little Jeff Toovey.
Riolo. Good run. He has shown courage to come back from that bad head knock earlier. Another good tackle from Toovey on Wishart. Izzard bounces off Hasler. Hasler comes again after Dunford had stopped Izzard. John Simon with the kick. Williams standing deep, allowing for the wind. McGregor with a good low tackle.
Yeah, much better chasing team from Illawarra as they pin Manly down inside their, just outside their 22. And there's a shortage of runners there as O'Donnell looks for a receiver and virtually had to nominate Jack Jones as he gives the ball back to O'Donnell. So there's a bit of ball here and Hasler cuts through.
Hasler upfield to the halfway. Now he gets it to Lyons. O'Connor there, and Hancock outside. O'Connor in control this time. Gets it back to Hosking. He still can't use his winger.
Great support play there by Hosking.
Now, good tackle by John Cross to end the movement. O'Connor gets away from Fritz. Now Lyons weaving, looking for the chink. Oh, Bella puts it down. Martin Bella putting the pass down when a try wasn't too far away.
Certainly a definite chance there. We see big Marty come back inside, and the occasion was too big for Marty as John Cross put a bit of pressure on him.
Bella may have been starting to think about scoring the try himself. Been plenty of action in this first half of football. Ian Russell shrugs off O'Donnell. I said there'd been muscle in the tackles earlier on. There's muscle on both sides. Plenty of strength being shown. Riolo. Iro takes it on the toe.
Poor pass there from dummy half, and that pass was meant for Simon.
Williams slowly to his feet. Lyons. Hasler. Manly finding some space out wide. Just 2 minutes till a half-time break.
They look very good, Manly, with the ball, but they certainly have some problems when Illawarra get it.
O'Donnell, Lyons, O'Connor through again. A risky pass, well gathered in by O'Donnell. Williams wants it. Toovey. Last tackle. Toovey gets the kick up. McIndoe, Kevin Iro flying. McIndoe comes along left. Danger here. Jones just makes the tackle. Well, very few players would have been able to stay with McIndoe over the 70 metres that lay ahead. Here's Wishart.
It was a beautiful tackle there by John Jones.
And a good one by Lyons on Wishart.
David Walsh. Schifilliti. Simon. Bad pass for Izzard. Girdler. McIndoe now gets a chance. Darryl Williams, the only one in front of him. Williams comes across. McIndoe knocked over. And Iro falls on him from behind. Williams did all he could do. Now it's Riolo. He's got Girdler. Alongside him is Russell. Oh, great tackle.
There's a penalty against. This is 10 minutes in the sin bin also. Now that could have been quite easily a penalty try.
Hasler it was.
Well, he came from an offside position. I thought that McCallum should have awarded the penalty try. He was offside. There was no one in front of him.
Well, yeah, I suppose the logic of what you're saying is dead right. If he should never have been there, it was obvious that a try was going to be scored.
Very similar to the Terry Lamb incidents.
Here it is again. Illawarra flying here with Girdler getting the pass onto Ian Russell. and from an offside position, Hasler cuts him down.
Well, maybe it didn't deserve a penalty try, but Williams was coming across and covered a fence there, but I thought that he might have made it had Hasler not impeded his progress.
Well, John, in that circumstance, if the referee thought that a try would have been scored, should he have awarded a penalty try?
Oh, geez, I'd like to sit on the fence again for that one. But you're right, he sort of compounded by awarding the penalty and sending him to the sin bin for 10 minutes. I mean, that means he was a blatant offside, but it's a good run by the winger.
Girdler from right in front levels the scores. 10 points each, Illawarra and Manly. And the siren for half-time has gone. So the crowd getting their money's worth in a free-flowing first half of football and watching the home side come back. It's 10 points all at half-time here at Steelers Stadium.
You're watching round 6 of the Premiership race on this ANZAC Saturday, live across Australia on ABC Sport. This weekend, Wagga in country New South Wales sees the continuation of the new Group 9 competition with 13 teams taking part.
And hello to everyone in southwest New South Wales, where Group 13 has been incorporated into Group 9, so it's a big group now, stretching all the way from Young to Albury on to Wagga, and on top of the ladder at the present time, 4 teams. We've got Temora, Tumut, Young and Kangaroos, all on 6 points down there in the Riverina. Well, the representative season has well and truly arrived. It's not a good day to be a city slicker after Country Origin and Country First took the double last night. And the Origin Series, State of Origin, just around the corner now. And those star-studded clubs, particularly clubs like Manly and Canberra, which have made a poor start to the season, will do it tough over the next couple of months. Meanwhile, Easts and Newcastle are bowling along on top of the competition after 5 rounds of football. At North Sydney, after a gripping 55 minutes, North's replacement forward Tony Hearn levelled the score with Easts at 4-all. But the enthusiasm of Jeff Orford, Rod Silver, Craig Salvatore and Gary Freeman saw the Roosters surge to their 5th straight win. Cutting their own throats with dropped ball, and this intercept by Steve Deacon, Norths were left waiting for the return of Mario Fennick and Greg Florimo as they slumped to their 3rd loss in a row, 16-4. At Newcastle, the Knights went on a second-half rampage against the Gold Coast with 7 tries all up, all of them scored by the backs. With Sargent and Harrigan breaking them apart up front, Rodwell, Hagan and Gordon capitalised. Yes. And as devastating as any, the right footstep of John Schuster in the Knights' biggest ever win, 42-6. The bomb is as lethal as ever. At the stadium, with Peter Coyne dominating, St George led South 16-2 at half-time. Souths came back with Coleman, Maben and Horan involved to get back to within 6 points. But the Dragons made it 4 wins out of 5. It was a spiteful match, sprinkled with high tackles, which led to angry words between the coaches. Darren Maroon, in particular, should buy a lottery ticket over this tackle on Tony Priddle. Only a caution was issued. At Leichhardt, there was little in it, as Parramatta turned in a determined effort. A great tackle by John Elias couldn't prevent Brett Kenny's try. Ben Elias, Gary Jack and Clint Robertson impressed, but Balmain were unconvincing winners, 16-10. Canberra centre David Boyle embarrassed Cronulla at Bruce Stadium. With Laurie Daly back from injury and Big Mal in the forwards, the Raiders posted a much-needed win, 40-16. At Penrith, the Panthers won 24-12, but an injury-riddled Illawarra showed plenty of courage to push them all the way. John Cartwright led from the front after the early loss of Greg Alexander. The Panthers scored 3 tries to 1, but this wasn't one of them, as Cole Bentley's pass to Steve Carter didn't find its mark. Well, now to other matters. The word origin, according to the Oxford Dictionary, is a person's ancestry, source, or starting point. Well, I think I'll send a dictionary to ARL chairman Ken Arthurson. He decided that if fit and selected, Balmain halfback Brian Smith
should represent New South Wales, not Queensland, in this year's State of Origin series. Smith was born in Queensland, played league at school in Queensland until he was 15, and even captained a Queensland schoolboys team. He then concentrated on rugby union, but while at tertiary college, did play some amateur rugby league in Brisbane. He has only lived in New South Wales for 2 of his 25 years. Why would New South Wales want Smith? He's obviously a Maroon plant. Well, Ken Arthurson said the rule is you represent the state where you played your first senior football after you turned 16. Queensland have been unable to provide documentary evidence of Smith's college games of league, and though Smith was willing to provide a statutory declaration, ARCO has conveniently declared Smith a blue via Balmain. Up till now, every case in dispute has been decided on its merits between the big three: Chairman Arthurson, General Manager John Quayle from New South Wales, and General Manager Ross Livermore from Queensland, all with little fuss. In this case, the decision by the chairman to stick to the rule flies in the face of common sense and undermines the whole Origin concept. Even more interesting, Livermore claims the rule is only a gentleman's agreement, dating back to the days of Kevin Humphreys and Ron McCallum, and he doubts that it's even written down anywhere. Unfortunately, Brian Smith broke his collarbone last night. Still, the principle remains. And the Queensland camp now jokingly says, by the rule, Steve Rogers should have represented Queensland. So New South Wales should be stripped of an early win because he was an ineligible player. Well, in the bush, they're singing Thank God I'm a Country Boy today. Congratulations to coach Mick Cronin and inspiring captain Laurie Daly.
Now, he's put on a break that's given country. It's here's Daly. This should be it. Daly deserves a try. And what a try.
Country led 16-10, and John Simon's field goal made sure of victory.
True as you please. He showed plenty of experience there for a young...
Great victory in both the City Firsts and the Origin for country yesterday. Now, coming up on ABC television next Saturday, the English Challenge Cup final, Wigan taking on Castleford. What a tremendous spectacle it should be. Join us on ABC television next Saturday at 11:30 p.m. live, the English Challenge Cup. And in other great games, we go back to 1969 today in our From the Vault series, back to a city-country clash of that year, and a match in which the country underdogs took more than just a little shine from their city counterparts. Karen Ty reports.
Sydney have won the toss. Country in the dark shorts will kick off from right to left, and here's the start.
As usual, the Sydney side was loaded with big names, so much so that players like Bob Fulton, Billy Smith and Johnny Raper had lined up in the seconds. Of the country team, centre and kicker Father John Coots would feature heavily, but only after an indifferent start, missing his first 4 attempts at goal.
It looks all right and hits the post.
Country, however, were first with the points, a field goal to halfback Hutchings.
And that's the first points of the match, a kick to Hutchings.
Only to have a fumble let City over for the first try of the game.
Could be close here, Cleary. Cleary should score.
5 minutes later, it was Cleary again, set up by the great pace of fellow centre John McDonald.
Over the halfway mark, has Cleary outside. Cleary should score, too much pace. No. But that's a try.
8-2 to Sydney, and the City side were looking back in control. Nice hands here to winger Johnny King, only to have Country deny him the try.
No, feet out. Very close to the corner post, feet out, over the touchline.
Sydney fullback Eric Sims made it an 8-point buffer with a giant field goal.
All right, it's pretty long, and it's over.
But the forwards were having their problems. South Sydney's second rower Bob McCarthy dented his further selection hopes with passes like this, intended for Langlands but scooped up by Coots for Country's first try.
Too much pace for Spencer Ham. He'll score for Country.
And just before half-time, finally some form with the boot. A penalty goal to Coots and just 5 points the margin going into the break.
This is a better attempt, and that's over. And in the second half, Sydney are kicking off with 2 replacements. Langlands and McDonald have not taken back to the field. They've been replaced by Honan and Sadler.
Country were first to strike in the second term. Panowitz with this field goal made it 12-9.
And just lops it over.
Then a penalty kick to Coots brought Country to within 1.
That's a better kick.
But as Country began to threaten, so City would respond.
Has King out there, King will score.
And when Bob McCarthy recaptured some form to connect with Mike Cleary for the winger's third try, it seemed City were back in command.
McCarthy has Cleary there. Cleary well picked up and he'll score.
But then the try of the match, and to the delight of the pro-country crowd, it went to the underdogs.
Good run. Coots, not enough pace. Pascoe could score. Back to Coots. Coots, the second try. Right under the posts.
The question now was, could country repeat the success of their seconds, who had earlier upstaged a star-studded Sydney lineup?
Bad luck for country. Mackenzie only 3 yards short. Quinn could be over. It's close. Held up over the line and pushed back. Quinn, number 11, lost the ball in the penalty to country. Well, this could even the match. There it is. Coots has kicked 5 out of 9, and the scores are 20 all, with only 9.5 minutes of play remaining.
It was anyone's game, but a snap goal to halfback Dennis Ward and a try from dummy half to McCarthy gave City the escape, but a win in which reputations were bruised and City's air of invincibility just a little tarnished. Final score City 27, Country 20.
Well, City did at that time, but last night it was Country's turn, the first time since 1975 that Country had really done over City, Arthur.
They certainly did it in style, but unfortunately I played in that game in 1975 when Mick Cronin's boys did the trick on us.
And you missed the 69 one through injury. A Queenslander representing City.
Well, that's right. Well, we saw it yesterday. Brian Smith representing City.
Anything's possible, isn't it? Okay, let's have a look at the stats here at Steelers Stadium. The scrums are 5-2 to Illawarra. No tight heads. Penalties 5-3 to Illawarra. Overall errors 26 versus 18. And defensive overall pretty even. Metres gained. Illawarra 867. Manly 787 metres. And time in possession 21 minutes apiece. So a few seconds either way. Basically dead even. Two teams back on the field. Rod Wishart playing strongly in the first half. Both teams had their chances in that first 40 minutes, only managing to score 1 try each. But certainly that possible penalty try just before half-time will be a talking point tonight. Greg McCallum gets play underway for the second half. And you can see that Manly looking into the sun there, and Darryl Williams just checking, trying to protect his sight from the sun as he was trying to pick up the ball from that kick. David Hosking. Well, plenty to talk about at half-time, John. What were the coaches concentrating on?
Well, Warren, a similar message from both rooms, really. Because of the tightness of the game, 10-all, both coaches agreed that to control the ball, they'll control the game. Now, Manly will be looking for a superior kicking game in the second half. They've got the advantage of a wind. If they can use that and get good field position, Graham Lowe thinks that they're playing for their premiership life, and he'd like them to show that on the field in the second half.
Graham Lowe, I should say Cliff Lyons, with the first kick of the second half, a good deep kick.
Of course, Illawarra would be hoping to spread the ball, taking advantage of Hasler being in the sin bin.
I think with the penalty try, Warren, I think if the referee has any doubt whatsoever, he won't award a penalty try. And there was a little bit of cover behind that tackle of Hasler, I thought, coming in from the wing. There's a charge down with Toovey.
Toovey with a charge down. Riolo just gets back. Good pace by both little men. Well, we saw the charge down once or twice in the first half. That time it very nearly led to a try for Manly.
Yeah, they're very lucky because you see a break being made here by Mac.
Here's the charge down by Toovey, knocking it down, and Riolo had to turn quickly and plucked it out of the air right in front of Toovey's face. Now it's Izzard back upfield. Simon runs another 10 metres before kicking it once he stepped inside O'Donnell, and that's a great kick. What a superb kick from John Simon.
Yeah, certainly a beautiful kick from John Simon. He had to evade a tackle, attempted charge down here by O'Donnell, and we see the ball just put in there, and obviously a little bit of local knowledge there being shown by Simon.
Manly have already started putting pressure on the Illawarra kickers. I think if they can put the little fella in there, Toovey, he's got a much better job of it. He's got more agility.
There's a chance here for Illawarra as Jeff Toovey knocks on at the scrum base.
Toovey feeding the scrum. It was hurled back, but he just knocked it on there, and, well, whether he really knocked it on, he certainly made a mess of it. The foot of the lock forward got in the road of his hands. No touch. Here's McGregor with a great ball to Girdler. Another Steelers try. Second try of the game to Ryan Girdler. And second time it's been laid on by Paul McGregor from a scrum. So everything doubling up for the Steelers here.
There's a touch of deja vu in this. We see once again he beats Williams, and there's Clippy Lyons, and once again we see Girdler getting in behind O'Connor there, and at 6 points. Thank you very much.
Well, Manly have paid for the scrum base error by Toovey. The scrum feed went to Illawarra, and then the dancing, stepping feet of McGregor set up Girdler. He read it well. There's good combination between these two centres. Girdler. Try number 6. 2 in this game. And that has brought the crowd well and truly alive. Illawarra hitting the front for the first time in the game. They've been playing catch-up throughout the first half. Girdler has scored all the points for Illawarra. 2 tries, and he's kicked 3 from 4. This is right in front. And he adds 2 more points. It's Illawarra 16, Manly 10.
They're 1-on-1 defence once again. Watch Cliff Lyons 6. He starts to slide out. Williams came up to try and force McGregor in, but wasn't good enough for the task. And, of course, Girdler had the ball on the wrong side of the fence for Manly, and he's over it. He scored all his team's points.
Paul McGregor looking plenty sharp today, despite playing last night.
And of course, if Hasler had been in there, he'd have been the man to stop that try, lock up Paul McGregor as he all floated.
Manly should never have been in that position, though. They had the scrum feed and blew it.
Exactly.
Here's Izzard now. And Manly have to hang on until Hasler gets back out there. You can just feel Illawarra lifting with the crowd behind them. John Cross.
There we see Paul McGregor, who is carving up Manly out wide, leading the way with 13 hits. And Johnny Jones there with 22 as we see
Simon gets it to Wishart. He can't hang on to it, and the pass just deflected forward. Beautiful work initially there by Simon and Riolo to make the break. Just coming forward off Rod Wishart.
And that was a pass that should have been taken by Wishart. Just taking his eyes off the football there. Not turn his trunk to the ball.
Chris White in the blood bin. And against the feed here, Simon dives in trying to get it out. But the penalty goes against Manly for screwing the scrum around. Connor questioning it.
It's a strange rule, this, because the ball was out, and I'm just wondering whether he was still part of the scrum, and I thought it was fair game there. The second row was still bound to his front rowers, and he's still striking for the ball.
It appeared that the penalty was for breaking too early, wasn't it, in the end?
Well, once the ball's out, he was entitled to fall on it.
Yeah, I agree. Fritz out to Cross, standing wide. 30 metres out, Illawarra leading by 6 points with Izzard. On the blind side is David Walsh. Riolo one off the ruck. Goes himself. darting run.
Just wondering whether Simon would go for the field goal this early in the match.
Russell holds it up for Fritz. McGregor was trying to straighten up and come off him. Fifth tackle. McGregor a dummy half. Schifilliti tried to get it inside. It was knocked down. And that's a knock on by Manly. David Hosking it was.
It was the last tackle. I think it's a handout. He's rolling a handout, but the ball definitely coming off Hosking. Whether he's ruled that Hosking has played at the ball, I don't know.
He ruled a knock on, Arthur.
Well, strange, because he didn't indicate to play on. I'm just wondering. Well, obviously that Illawarra knocked on. Because number 11 picks his ball up. Why has he not played the advantage?
Russell has it. Simon pulls out of a tackle, looking for his winger. Couldn't get it to Wishart. Wishart had just come back in a touch early. Cross. Izzard. Manly hanging on here. John Jones intercepts to save the day.
Yeah, silly pass there by Izzard. Certainly had a lot of pressure on Manly there, and that could have been the ball game. We see Kevin Iro try to run Manly out of trouble.
Manly still with just 12 men.
You see Des Hasler there at the tunnel there, ready to come back on.
Jones. Here comes Hasler now. After 10 in the sin bin. Fifth tackle against Manly as Bell is held. Back to Williams. Izzard tried to charge it down. Riolo knocks it back. And he can't get away from Michael O'Connor's good tackle. Earlier on I said Michael O'Connor was the leading scorer of points in Origin football. That's for New South Wales. Now McIndoe leads all up when it comes to total points scored in Origin football. This is Ian Russell.
And Manly have poor marker defence. Their forwards have been turning their back, and Ian Russell saw that and cut back inside, as we see Izzard cut back to the blind side.
And still going Craig Izzard. Fritz backing up well. Illawarra keeping the ball alive. Simon takes his eye off it.
See, Manly is shot in the forwards. Really tired boys out there. Hosking and Bella.
Just trying to pass the ball before it arrived. Was
yeah, well, I
Simon.
think he had a look there, Simon, because he realised that Williams was up in the line, and maybe he was looking at putting the ball in behind the front line.
And that may be another blood bin, is it?
This is Brett Goldspink coming on.
It's number 23. Replacing John Cross.
And his dad would be very happy. Kevin Goldspink, former Canterbury, East and Kangaroo Second Valley. In his pub at Hay. How are you, Goldie?
As Lyons links up with Kevin Iro. And the ball just knocked out of his hands as he tried to get the pass away. It wasn't pinched as such. Now Schifilliti quickly turns defence into attack.
Certainly under pressure here, Manly. We might see a penalty here as Big Marty. Once again, it's Cliff Lyons.
Lyons has matched an extra 10 metres for arguing. In the first half, Lyons disputed the referee's decision. Now he gets into a bit of an argument with Michael O'Connor. He's a very frustrated man right now, Cliff Lyons.
Well, that's the second penalty against Cliff Lyons, and I think he's an experienced player. He should know that you can't win with the referees.
Here's the tackle by Lyons on Schifilliti. Lyons appears to be hanging on at that point.
It looks like he's trying to do the backstroke, doesn't it?
He may have become entangled a little bit in the end. I suppose the Illawarra player was on top of him and Lyons couldn't get up, but initially Lyons appeared to be hanging on. Michael O'Connor realises that Manly are slipping back in this game. They're down by 6 points. This could make it 8. And look at the tension on Graham Lowe. Ryan Girdler, 4 from 5 and a cool head. But not with this one. He pushes it wide. Hancock takes it safely. Sets sail across field. Still going Hancock.
Good work there by Hancock, but a poor kick by Girdler. I thought he had the power to put that ball at least dead.
Manly need to regather themselves here and call on all of their experience in players like Bella. They need some composure.
And there we see that Manly have had to burn up a little bit more juice than Illawarra. 40 more defense tackles.
Lyons going back in amongst the forwards. Fifth tackle as it goes back to Williams. Riolo on the halfway.
A very good tackle there by Marty Bella.
Fritz. He's been a thorn in Manly's side, Dale Fritz. Every time he gets the ball, he beats a tackle. Schifilliti runs it to the defence. Girdler. McIndoe. Manly's defence starting to crack. Toovey races up in the defensive line, tries to cut it off. Simon pops a pass back to Izzard. On the Manly 22, Russell went behind his own man to Shepherd. A little unlucky, but
yeah, a little
fair
bit
decision.
Well, you're right there. Michael O'Connell was impeded by David Walsh. Yeah. It's more almost Academy Award stuff, isn't it, John?
Geez, they needed it, but man, they're really on the ropes.
Bella. Manly need a good set of 6 here. Jones. He got through the first tackle of Gallagher's. And now it's Chris White. They're going one out, but it's good, tough, mistake-free stuff from Manly. And now Hosking. The fourth tackle. They've only made 20 metres, but they've settled it down. Now the backs are set. Lyon. Toovey. Williams. A slight hesitation as Girdler had him marked. 16 points to 10 in favour of Illawarra. Still plenty of time to go. The kick ahead. Riolo hasn't made a mistake. O'Connor chases him. .25 minutes to go in what's headed for a gripping finish. That's Goldspink.
Well, after 4 losses in coaches speak, does that mean you're in a slump?
You're certainly in trouble. Oh, no, we see Izzard there cock the ball up as Big Marty Bella hits him over the top. So they will see a bit of pressure coming from the Manly camp here. It's obvious that Graham Lowe has sent out a message to, he feels that the game is slipping away and he's asking for a second effort from his boys, and they certainly are responding.
Hosking tries to bulldog his way through.
Well, this is the best field position they've been in the second half.
Here's Toovey, and that looked like a high tackle on the little man. Bella. Hasler.
This boy will have no problem sleeping tonight. There's Hasler.
Last tackle, Williams in trouble. Gets it to Toovey. Up it goes. No contest. Riolo unchallenged. Lyons in this tackle. It gets away from him. John Cross about to come back from the blood bin. Schifilliti telling the referee to make sure the markers face up directly in front of the man playing it. Wishart can't get away from Hasler. Russell makes a valuable 15 metres. The last tackle. Simon kicks deep. Williams just took it on the fingertip. Williams misjudged that kick. He didn't realise it was going as deep. Made no attempt to move backwards.
Yeah, certainly a good kick there by Simon, but I'm just wondering about the wisdom of Williams putting his hand up there, touching the ball and making everyone onside.
He may have thought that with the breeze blowing into the face of Illawarra that the kick would hold up.
6 more here.
Bella close to the touchline. White.
We see there Illawarra, Paul McGregor's leading the way. Ian Russell helping with 17. And John Jones leading the way with a mammoth 26 tackles.
O'Connor cleans up a bad pass, but he's run to ground by Cross. O'Connor may be carrying a leg injury. He looks a little wobbly. Riolo.
That's the third kick. They haven't missed him.
Still going, David Riolo. Darryl Williams hasn't kicked badly, but he's no Matthew Ridge with the boot.
Peering up the middle, John. They're shrugging off tackles, Simon.
Yeah, they're shot, Manly.
They're just hanging on. They're only down by 6 points, but they're in this game by a thread at the moment. Can Illawarra deliver the knockout punch? They've had plenty of possession in Manly territory. Schifilliti, McGregor.
He's a handful, McGregor. Had a wonderful game today.
Schifilliti heads to the post, puts a little kick ahead. Schifilliti regathers. Close. 5th tackle. Lyons and Williams just got hold of him. Lyons is underneath. Can he play the ball? Gallagher. Lost it. Ref says it went forwards, and that's a handover.
Schifilliti should have played that ball straight away. They had momentum. They had the defence disorganised. And we see Lyons trying to win a penalty there, but what he wanted to do, he was trying to win a penalty off Lyons once more, but just had to get on and play the ball, Schifilliti.
Here's Hosking. The Manly hard pressed, but they survive yet another raid. Hasler. And you've got to remember all the time that one of the few sides who really can score tries from their own end of the field is Manly, particularly someone like Kevin Iro as Lyons kicks deep. It's out on the floor. Cliff Lyons, what an enigma he is. Unpredictable, sometimes brilliant, sometimes just has these off days.
This is a calculated risk to kick early, and it was on the early tackle count. We see that ball just popping out over the sideline there by centimetres on the full.
If it had been 6 inches closer to the field of play, Cliff Lyons would have produced a brilliant kick and put Illawarra right down their own end. Another blood bin, is it, for Hosking? They need the Red Cross ambulances out the back today. What blood type are you? Illawarra have the scrum feed. Fritz. Goes straight through. Oh, ankle tap by Hasler. Goes again and makes it. Fritz looked as if he was going to stroll through. Unopposed. Hasler breaking from the scrum desperately got to an ankle, but Fritz manages to go again. The 3rd try from a scrum for Illawarra. Simple as this. Fritz has a good step. He left Darryl Williams standing. Great work by Hasler to at least get to him. And Chris White unable to stop him.
I'm a little bit surprised that Des Hasler didn't break from the scrum much sooner, and thinking that Williams had Fritz hung off a little bit there, and that was enough to allow Fritz to cut through after he stepped off that right foot.
And Fritz, some people feel that he should be in the running for a Queensland Origin spot on his recent performances. He was spotted by McGregor in Rockhampton in 1989 and brought down to Canberra before coming to Illawarra. In fact, I think that might be Darren Fritz. Got some information there. That's not Dale Fritz I'm talking about there. Ryan Girdler right in front of the post adds 2 more points. Illawarra 22, Manly 10.
Yeah, here's the scrum. Look at Dale Fritz. He's got Darryl Williams in front of him. Off the right, creates a gap quicker than Nick Greiner can create a job. And over he goes for the try. Now, gee, the Manly scrum defence is pitiful. There's only one word for it.
Illawarra have scored all 3 tries from the scrum.
I know we're talking in hindsight, John, but I just wonder about this. We see Russell break through from the kick-off, but I'm just wondering about the wisdom of playing Des Hasler.
But just the same in that situation, Arthur. Darryl Williams has missed 3 tackles from scrums and it's been 3 tries.
Well, on each
I think he should be with me.
Right.
Darryl Williams has had some knee problems in recent years. He looks fit out there today, not wearing any knee guards, but I know that last year he had a bit of mobility problem because of knee worries.
And he was carrying his shoulder earlier in the game. I think he still is now, his left shoulder. But if you're not fit enough, he should be on the sideline.
We see Gallagher here taking that ball up, and I'm just wondering if there's a hand in that ball, which there was.
As Matt Dunford leaves the field, sitting there with David Liddiard, and David Hosking back on from the blood bin. Toovey.
Well, Manly have conceded 20 points each game in their 5 games to date, and today's no different. They're up to 22 now by the Steelers. So there hasn't been any improvement in that area.
Hosking, midway between the Illawarra quarter and halfway. Still 17 minutes remaining in the match, so Manly not out of it. They're down by 12 points, 2 converted tries as O'Connor tries to improve things. O'Donnell at dummy half. Toovey calls for it on the open side. Lyons. Hasler standing wide. Well wrapped up, though, by Cross. Iro with the kick ahead on the last tackle. Waiting back there is Wishart. And he's tackled by Iro, the man who put the kick ahead.
Yeah, a little bit of frustration, creeping into Manly's attack there. As we see Iro just put that ball up the air, give chase, but as you said, that was just virtually a lottery.
McIndoe held on his own 22. Ian Russell. Craig Izzard. The defensive Manly holds this time is Fritz in the tackle of Bella. Simon. Back to Riolo. Takes a few steps before he kicks. But waiting there, Tony Iro. McGregor in front of him. And he goes low and makes the tackle. Kevin Iro loses his footing and McGregor gets hold of him.
Also, as we see Illawarra come up with possession once again.
Well, Iro's so keen to get the pass away that his grip loosened.
You see Brett Goldspink take that ball up very hard and make a very good break there.
Took little Toovey to put him on the ground, jumping on his back. Schifilliti making good ground out of dummy half as he has on a number of occasions. Manly's marker defence failing at crucial times. Simon. Dunn. Cross. Back to Bill Dunn. Getting it to Girdler. He's already scored 2 tries. The pass on the inside. White will need to get to it. And that will be a goal line dropout.
In the last 15 minutes, Manly have had to do a lot of defence, and that hasn't abated at all as they have to defend for 6 more once again. We see the ball flick back inside there by Dunn. We see Girdler showing that ball back inside as he's forced over the touchline. Chris White diving on the ball.
Darryl Williams to drop out. Simon to Wishart. Wishart will get some revs up here, but the Manly defence holds. O'Donnell doing well. Russell getting more involved in the work around the rucks. Gets it to the 22. Good position to attack. Illawarra can set up their play from here. McGregor goes up the centre. Which way are they going to go? Simon on the blind side. Dunn on the open. It comes out to Izzard. Now it's Russell. Away from Toovey. 10 metres out. Still 2 tackles to go. Simon. Simon's still going. Gets it to cross. Hancock loses it. It's there for the taking. Oh, the referee says it was knocked on by Illawarra.
Yeah, John Cross, the man, bombing a try there. Certain try, as we saw Simon duck in behind a Martin Bella tackle. We watch here Simon throw the dummy and cuts in behind and see Marty Bella put the big paw out. Offloaded John Cross there, but maybe Williams took his eye off the ball there. It was definitely a knock on by John Cross.
Toovey has it for Manly. Lyons. Jones. Just have the feeling that Manly are fighting a losing battle here. They look a bedraggled mob, even though they haven't given up by any means, but they just don't seem to have that thrust that they need to really get the machine in the groove.
Well, the 3 key men had to back up from last night's game. You're talking about Toovey, Hasler and Lyons. And you see them knock on once more. Cross makes amends for that drop pass.
That pass was always going to be hard to take. It was thrown fairly hard at a sharp angle. On a good day, it would have stuck. Simon. Dunn. 10 metres out. The nail in the hand of John Simon, and there it is. He nails him all right. The nail in the coffin. Simon off his left foot. Last night in the City Country Origin match, he kicked a field goal off his right foot. This time it's with the left foot, and that gives him the 13-point break.
We have a look at it. It's all too easy for Illawarra. Off his left foot there, just puts it straight over the black dot and really puts the dirt on the coffin.
11 minutes to go. Hard to see Manly getting out of this now. Girdler. As the chant goes up from the Steeler fans.
There you go, fellas. He's an impressive player, Arthur Girdler. There's not much of him. He's a good mover.
No, great player, 19-year-old. Mind you, he's got some good players inside and out.
Yeah, I like the way he and McGregor work. Gee, McGregor hasn't surprised me today, but he's an improved footballer on last year's performance.
And also Dale Fritz is a very good player too, and I know that Ryan alluded to the fact, but I think he is a cousin of Dale Fritz.
Dale and Darren.
Dale and Darren, rather, yes. They're both from Queensland, they are cousins.
And here's Izzard running off Simon. And on it goes to Wishart. Russell is there as well. He's out of Williams' tackle. O'Connor gets hold of him. McGregor was close. He bounced over the line, but I think he was tackled. He was. Referee McCallum gives Manly a relieving penalty. Cliff Lyons calls to his teammates, come on, fellas, get back here, get onside, let's get on with this game.
They're so tempting as we see McGregor there just pushed off, and a great tackle there by Chris White. He's well done, a double movement there.
Yeah, no doubt that he was tackled in the first place, but a great burst once more by Illawarra. Hosking, the mule, with his shoulder to the task at hand. Lyons. Oh, if only Cliff Lyons could recapture that kangaroo 1990 form, but at the moment it's just not there for him. When he's confident, he's unstoppable.
You see the total tackle count there. Manly have had to do quite a deal of defence.
Toovey sends a hospital pass to Hasler. Hasler virtually had the tackler right on top of him. Jones. Kevin Iroh's the key. He's waiting out on the wing, hoping someone can feed him the pass. On the last tackle, White, wicked kick. Hand over.
Well, that's what you'd expect from a player who isn't one of the designated kickers.
At half-time, the time in possession was dead even. Now, Illawarra away again. Bill Dunn going close. Now it's all Manly. It's all Illawarra, the time in possession. as we look at Goldspink. Goldspink could go all the way. Desperate defence. Hasler hurt in the tackle, but he's still on his feet. Simon goes himself. Arms and legs and bodies going everywhere. McGregor loops a pass out. It's Iro versus the rest. And Iro wins. Tony Iro off play. Oh no. It'll come back for the knock on. It was Tony Iro versus 5 Illawarra players.
Yeah,
the pass from McGregor went the right way.
A beautiful pass here by McGregor, but too hard to take. And McIndoe picks up the dregs there. Says, I'll score a 4-pointer here, but it was a knock-on. Girdler couldn't take that pass.
Well, the last 3 rucks there, Arthur, would probably be a horror movie for a coach, but there's the time in possession.
10 minutes difference in time in possession now, 42 minutes versus 32, so Illawarra have dominated possession and territory as Lyons just hands it to Williams. This is almost schoolboy stuff now. It's desperation from Manly. Desperation, in fact, this is panic. The second half last week against Brisbane was a disaster for Manly, a debacle, and this has degenerated into the same thing. Hosking. O'Donnell swings a long ball out to Toovey. They have got some space here. Iro to Tony Iro. By no means Tiny Iro. Iro, it's Tony, that's for sure. And he's tall. Hasler. Bella in midfield, held. 5th tackle. Manly getting up towards the halfway. O'Connor. Riolo goes back. Down comes the chase. Hasler, Hancock with the tackle. McIndoe.
Manly's been very lucky in the last 10 minutes. Illawarra bombed about 2 tries at least. So the scoreline is a little bit flattering at the moment, but all the coach can ask for at this stage is that they don't concede any more points. Try and keep it in check and at least play a good final 5 minutes or 6 minutes.
Chris White urging the Manly players up in defence. Back goes Kevin Iro. Surrounded. And Kevin Iro takes off. Nobody in front of him. Cliff Lyons in support. He went the wrong way, Iro. He had Hancock, O'Connor and Lyons on his left, and now he loses the ball. Riolo comes away with it. It's amazing, isn't it? And now Riolo and O'Donnell start throwing punches, and the Steelers swarm in on O'Donnell. Like a bunch of mosquitoes all over the top of him, defending their fullback.
We have a look here. Riolo brings the ball back after the recovers possession here, and we see Cliff Lyons coming in, and maybe the penalty should go against Riolo here, because he seems to be the aggressor.
Riolo threw out what was more of a slap than a punch, and O'Donnell responded. He's certainly David Riolo who started the altercation. Touch judges reporting on the incident. Alan McIndoe wants to come in and have a listen as well.
Just wondering whether he could be the union delegate.
The penalty goes to Illawarra. I'm not so sure that was the correct decision. I think the reason McIndoe and Schifilliti were in there is that the captain, Craig Izzard, is not out on the field, so they're all there as acting captains.
And David Liddiard's on. He's a fresh reserve, and he's being used in the last 5 minutes. Can you believe that one?
Yes, well, I wonder, to be honest, David Liddiard's form this season hasn't been brilliant either, but you're right, John, when you're getting beaten like this, I guess you use your fresh men.
Well, he might have a little bit of enthusiasm.
McNeil out there for Illawarra too, as the Scrums are 8-7 in favour of the Steelers. Here's McNeil, a former Balmain and West player. Fritz. He's almost through again. John Jones can barely get off the ground. He's had a torrid day. The 5th tackle, the kick to Williams. Neil down there in chase.
Let him go, fellas, let him go. Hold on.
Well, Graham Lowe knows that Manly are staring down the barrel now. They have to win 12 of their remaining 16 games to get 28 points, which is usually the mark to make the semi-finals. 12 out of 16 from here. By no means impossible, but it's not going to get any easier.
I'm a little bit surprised that Graham Murray hasn't given Paul McGregor an early shower, John.
Yes, he played last night, of course. He's had a blinder today, but I think he's just, when you're hot, Arthur.
You're not wrong.
Split round next week, he might have the weekend off.
You see the missed tackles there. There's 52 errors by Manly there, and 35 of those are missed tackles.
And the man on the bottom of this tackle is John Jones. He is exhausted. He's made 37 tackles now, which is 10 more than any other Manly player. David Hosking has 28, and Jeff Toovey 26.
He's a wholehearted player, John Jones. He's tried all day, but he needs some assistance.
Ian Russell, and there's Jones at low again. And look at him, he's on his knees. Someone get a stretcher for the poor bloke. He's not hurt, but he can't move. Williams leaves it on the ground, but Riolo can't pick it up.
It's a beautifully placed little grubber there, just a la Alfie Langer, just popping the ball in behind the lines. We see that Williams couldn't pick the loose ball up, and there was a chance here for Riolo, and he made a meal of it also.
While we're talking about the slackness of Manly's performance, we must give credit to Illawarra. They really played a great game of football here.
Certainly gave away a little bit of start, and that was caused by coughing up possession early, but since that time they've controlled possession, and we've seen the results of that.
10-all at half-time, but it's been all the Steelers in the second half.
We see the feed going to Jeff Toovey as Miggsy Neal couldn't pick that ball up from the scrum. We see O'Donnell coming off to the blood bin.
That's the 4th or 5th player in the blood bin today. Just while we've got a chance, a quick mention for the Student World Cup of Rugby League, which is coming up in August in Sydney. 12 countries taking part in the Student World Cup. And there's a gala dinner at Guildford Leagues Club on Friday week, May 8th. Arthur is one of a great range of guest speakers, which includes Des Hasler and Roy Simmons, Johnny Raper, Rod Reddy. And if you want tickets, you can call Guildford Leagues Club. John Jones takes it up to the 22. Chris White. Bella. Well, John, where do you think the wheels fell off Manly today or last week? Can you pinpoint it?
Well, I think their defence needs addressing, but, I mean, if the other team's got a fair bit of possession, I know it's hard to continue tackling, but there's far too many missed tackles around the rucks, and particularly around the dummy half area and the first forwards up on each side of the ruck.
Penalty sounds right on full time as the siren sounded, but Illawarra are going to play on. Will they go for the goal or the try? It looks as if Alan McIndoe is making the decisions. He decides that they'll shoot for goal. I think his fans would have preferred them to go for the try. Here's the penalty. Jeff Toovey taking the ball forward. I don't know whether he may have said that Jeff Toovey was tackled and went again. This game has run fairly late because of the ANZAC Day commemorations early on. Lion Girdler from a long way out, and he doesn't go close. Manly will run it out. David Liddiard's going to have one last crash at it from his own end of the field, but McIndoe cleans it up.